This is actually my first Saturday live stream in a while. I did a couple of Wednesday ones in a row, and so I've had about 10 days off. In between live streams, the last one I did was the Blood on the Tracks anniversary show, and this one's going to be similar, except we're going to be focused on another album, which is "So Runs the World Away," Josh Ritter. Um, his album from 2010, and this album, unlike some of the albums that I do, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try to write an album like this one, being the naive person that I am, but this one came about a little bit organically, definitely in the sense that I didn't necessarily count on a relationship falling apart, although I kind of should at this point. But it was just one of those things, and so I was listening to some music, listening to Josh Ritter and his album "The Beast in Its Tracks," because that's his divorce album, and so I was listening to it and I was like, this is really happy for a divorce record. Like, good for him. But at the same time, like, that's just not where I'm at. And so I went to So Runs the World Away, and it just resonated with me a little bit more in that moment, being an album about, going after something, and then it's not there. And it's all of that throughout pretty much the whole record, except for a couple of tracks. And so it really is unique to my writing style, because usually when I do something like that, it'll be like, half the record will be positive and half the record will be negative, and that'll be coming next week. But this one, it was really about being torn between those two things, and I found that almost more powerful to write in that sense, that like it's this push and pull that exists within a relationship, and that's what really gets you. It keeps you hanging on, keeps you a little bit addicted, and saying like, no, I can look past this, and whatever. But it's just one of those things that, like, that's not always the absolute best thing in the world. And so this particular album is called One More Rag, and I'll explain the title in a little bit, but it's basically about the first handful of tracks are kind of positive and saying like, hey, I'm hanging on, and then after that, it just gets to the point where you can't really hang on anymore, just for your own sanity. But intertwined with that is going to be the Josh Ritter songs, and so usually I go based on like, oh, is it, does it contradict the my original song? And I'll play that one first. And there's a little bit of that, but some of when I do that is more just to tell the story a little bit better. Because I got one story, and then So Runs the World Away. Definitely check out that album, but that's, kind of a whole different story, whole different concept album. So I'm going to do that and play, a little bit of the songs interspersed, but I'm going to start off with the Josh Ritter song called Lantern, and that inspired a song of mine called Different, and I hope you enjoy both of them. Be the light in my lantern, the light in my lantern, be the light. Be the light in my lantern tonight. Be the light in my lantern, the light in my lantern, be the light. I need light in my lantern tonight. It's a hungry world out there, even the wind will take a bite. I can feel the world snug, sniffing around me at night, and the lost sheep grow tea, forsake the lambs and lie with the lions. And the living is desperate, precarious and mean, and getting by is so hard that even the rocks are picked clean, and the bones of small contention are the only food the hungry find. I'll need the light for my lantern, the light for my lantern tonight. The light in my lantern tonight. Where the thistles eat the thorns and the roses have no chance, and it ain't no wonder that the babies come out crying in advance, and you're only glad it's dark 'cause you might see the night sand. And the stars might stick you where you stand, and you're only glad it's dark 'cause you might see the master's hand. And you might cast around forever. Let's start that verse over because that was ridiculous. And the sky's so cold and clear, the stars might stick you where you stand, and you're only glad it's dark 'cause you might see the master's hand. You might cast around forever and never find the peace you seek. I need the light for my lantern, the light for my lantern tonight. Be the light in my lantern tonight. For every cry in the night, somebody says have faith, be content inside your questions, minotaurs inside your maze. Tell me what's the point of light, you gotta strike a match to find. Throw away those lamentations. We both know them all too well. If there's a book of jubilations, we must write it for ourselves. So come and lie beside me, darling, and let's write it while we still got time. So if you got a light, oh, that I'm a me. I need it bad tonight, oh, that I'm a me. 'Cause I'm face to face, oh, that I for me. In that lonesome place, oh, that I for me. With all the hurt I've done, oh, that I'm a me. That can be undone, oh, that I'm a me. Light and guide me through. Hold it high for me, I'll do the same for you. Hold it high for me, I'll hold it high for you. 'Cause I know you've got, I'll hold it high for you. Your own valley to walk, I'll hold it high for you. Though it's dark as death, I'll hold it high for you. Then it gets darker yet, I'll hold it high for you. Though your map seems lost, I'll hold it high for you. Through the leaves and the rocks, I'll hold it high for you. Keep you safe from harm, I'll hold it high for you until you're back in my arms. Be the light in my lantern, the light in my lantern tonight. Be the light in my lantern, the light in my lantern tonight. Be the light in my lantern, the light in my lantern tonight. Be the light in my lantern tonight. I really thought you were different, and you probably thought you were different too. Well, I fell for you so quickly, never intended to get up. I had thoughts of forever, those turned out to be a bust. You kept making excuses as to why we couldn't get reacquainted. You said you were sorry, it had been a long 5 years. Now you're just another reason I'm still crying all these tears. Maybe we aren't meant for the rosy picture I had painted. I really thought you were different, and you probably thought you were different too. 'Cause the things you said to me were justified in your head, making up all kinds of reasons things you were doing instead. But you're just another rag in the long lines of one my feet have carried. And I guess it was my fault for holding on too tight, but it's the way that I feel and I refuse to apologize. Who's gonna buy your ribbons if you and I are not married? I really thought you were different, and you probably thought you were different too. I really thought you were different, and you probably thought you were different too. You ain't different than them, I see the line of best fit. You ain't different than them, you still smashed us to bits. You ain't different than them, but we both fooled ourselves. You ain't different than them, I see the line of best fit. You ain't different than them, you still smashed us to bits. You ain't different than them, you also put my love up on a shelf. I really thought you were different, and you probably thought you were different too. I really thought you were different, and you probably thought you were different too. You probably thought you were different too. All right, and that was Different, and started off with Lantern by Josh Ritter. And as I said, all of these songs are Josh Ritter songs, or were inspired by Josh Ritter songs, specifically ones off of So Runs the World Away. And it's interesting because I actually got a new decoration for my influences wall. I don't have a Josh Ritter picture, but I have quotes from his songs. I have the Jesus Hates Your High School Dances one, and then the one that I just got today was from my friend Amanda. She actually made it, and it says, every heart is a package of knots filled with, every heart is a package filled with knots that someone else tied. And that's a line from the song Kathleen. And oddly enough, I really got into this song Kathleen when I was, kind of talking to this one person. And we were very radically different in terms of, she was a lot more introverted than I was. And so we were saying that, if I were at a party, I'd be the one schmoozing and, she'd be in a chair. But then at the end, the party, that we'd come together because she, really did fascinate me. So that fell apart. And so now I'm doing kind of the counter argument to that tonight, but still talking about Josh Ritter and how amazing he is. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that particular song. And Lantern, even though it's the 8th track on So Runs the World Away, that's kind of the goal with this album. And then you quickly find out that, no, that's not the case. But this kind of plays into the trope of, people saying like, oh, I'm not like the other girls and whatever, like, I'll treat you well and whatever. And, there's a line in there that she actually said. There wasn't a whole lot that I could quote her on because she just would kind of stop texting me. And, we haven't texted in probably 2 or 3 weeks, but, it was one of the sound bites. There's always at least one, and one from this person was, I kind of figured I'd get ahead of her discovering my YouTube page, which contains a lot of angry songs. And so I said, there are a lot of angry breakup songs on there. And, I said, just so you know, it's been kind of a long 5 years. And so she said, oh, I'm sorry, it's been a long 5 years. And then as it turned out, she turned out to bring me into year 6 of that ridiculous stuff. And so, that was just one of those things. But there's another line in there that's kind of an ode to 2 different songs. The main one that you guys would know would be Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. And it was actually based on a melody of an old folk song that was called Who's Gonna Buy Your Ribbons When You're Gone. And so there was that version. There was a version that I couldn't find that was called Who's Gonna Buy Your Chickens When You're Gone. And so I just changed it to Ribbons. But that's the idea in I guess that second verse, the Who's Gonna Buy Your Ribbons If You and I Are Not Married. So that gets a little Bob Dylan-y in there, and that is never a terrible thing. But like I said, that was different, and it's one of the few tracks at the very beginning that is kind of positive. And this one kind of goes with that whole thing of, kind of making up excuses for that person and realizing that, like, hey, maybe I'm being too hard because, I'm so used to people walking out and, without any warning. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of doing the same thing by freaking out when she's not texting me back. And so, as it turned out, my instinct was correct, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So this is a song called Marathon and Long Shadows, the Josh Ritter song that inspired it. Seen this a time or two, tried to draw a straight line to connect all of the heartache. For a while that was fine. Yeah, I still have some questions, but love's a marathon, and I'd give away starting over if you chose not to be gone. Seen this a time or two, and I'm sick of the race, but if you run with me, maybe I can keep pace. Love is not a sprint, but a marathon. Maybe we'll find out that it was you all along. I found other ways to occupy my time, so you are not the only thing on my mind. But when it comes to my long-term plans, I don't want to be nobody else's man. Seen this a time or two, tried to draw a straight line to connect all of the heartache. For a while that was fine. Yeah, I still have some questions, but love's a marathon, and I'd give away starting over if you chose not to be gone. Seen this a time or two, and I'm sick of the race, but if you run with me, maybe I can keep pace. Love is not a sprint, but a marathon. Maybe we'll find out that it was you all along. I can see a world without you, but it's one I don't badly want to grow into. You gave off a rush of dopamine that I left in some forgotten dreams. Seen this a time or two, tried to draw a straight line to connect all of the heartache. For a while that was fine. Yeah, I still have some questions, but love's a marathon, and I'd give away starting over if you chose not to be gone. Seen this a time or two, and I'm sick of the race, but if you run with me, maybe I can keep pace. Love is not a sprint, but a marathon. Maybe we'll find out that it was you all along. Maybe we'll find out that it was you all along. I'm not afraid of the dark. We've been in before, falling on hard times, honey. We've fallen on swords, but if a long shadow falls across your heart, I'll be right here with you, honey. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark. When the sun goes down and the dreams grow teeth, and the beasts come out and cast their long shadows. Every time that they start, I'll be right here with you, honey. I'm not afraid of the dark. Out on the hill, the hounds are baying. Out on the moor, the foxes run to stay alive until they're faded, and to pray for a light that seems so long to come. I'm not afraid of the dark when the stars get scarce and you reach for him, honey, and he's just not there, just a long shadow across your heart. I'll be right there with you, honey. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of the dark when the sun goes down and the dreams grow teeth, and the beasts come out and cast their long shadows. Every time that they start, I can reach for me, honey. I'm not afraid of the dark. You can reach for me, honey. I'm not afraid of the dark. All right, and that was Marathon and Long Shadows by Josh Ritter. So like I said, as I was compiling this album and, kind of took shape, I switched the track order around at least a couple of times because there were Long Shadows actually ends the album, so Runs the World Away. And I thought, that's not really it, because that's a very positive song. And so I thought, all right, yeah, that's not really how mine's gonna end. And that's just one of the things, one of the kind of creative liberties that I took, but while still recognizing that, like, hey, this is a very, very good album, and I want to highlight that. And normally I put out playlists and stuff, and I didn't last week because it was all blood on the tracks, and I don't need a special day to promote that album. But this week I definitely will, because this is an album that not everybody knows, but it's definitely worth listening to, and so I will definitely do that. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. But we still got plenty more songs to go, and this is a song called Midwestern Migration, and this song came about, like I said, still kind of looking at the positives, and this person that I was talking to is from Iowa, which is not great, but it's still the Midwest, and so I, kind of wrote this song reflecting on how, decent chunk of people that I've been attracted to recently have ties to the North, and so specifically the Midwest, but it's just one of those things, and so I came across the song Southern Pacifica, and first of all, it really reminded me of Jeremy Messersmith, something that he would put out, a great Minnesota artist. And so I, really enjoyed that song. I wanted to write my own song that was similar. And so this is Midwestern Migration and Southern Pacifica. And I hope you enjoy both of them. I am going to do Southern Pacifica first. Southern Pacific, red, white, and blue. Where are we running to? Over the wide plains, over the wide plains. Take me to someplace new. Remember me to Roxy, yeah. You know she's still lovely. Tell her I was on the moon last time you saw me, that you only saw the bang of my head. Climb through the timbers and breathe the dust of cosmos and wild rosebud. Thunder from the unknown, phosphorus white glow, saber-toothed bones in the dusk. Remember me to Roxy, yeah. You know she's still lovely. Tell her I was on the moon last time you saw me, that you only saw the bang of my head. Remember me to Roxy, yeah. You know she's still lovely. Tell her I was barely there the last time you saw me, that you only saw the bang of my head. Southern Pacific, take me to meet whatever's haunting for me. Midwestern migration, found my way to you. After years of frustration, yeah, I finally feel brand new. It sure wasn't easy. At times I thought you were lost. Did I lose myself? Yes, but at no cost. Midwestern migration, it ain't that hard to see that I was made for you, girl, and you were made for me. High appreciation, our value is on the rise, and there ain't nothing like the look in your eyes. Midwestern migration. With you I feel at home. My heart's delegation is never gonna roam. So runs the world, let it run away. Outside of its hamlet, but in love we will stay. All right, and that was Southern Pacifica and Midwestern Migration. The second one of those being by yours truly. So in that last verse, I made reference to, I said, so runs the world, let it run away. Like I said, we're showcasing in somewhat of a different way, So Runs the World Away, the Josh Ritter album from 2010. And that actually takes its name from a line in the second act of Hamlet. And so that's the outside of its Hamlet. That's that particular reference. And you'll see me reference So Runs the World Away, that line at a couple of different points throughout this particular live stream. But the next song that I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the cover and then launch into my own song once again. And if all goes right, I'll just, do it as a medley. And that is going to be the plan there. But this is a song that lyrically kicks off So Runs the World Away. This is a song called Change of Time. And there's an opening track that's just an instrumental before Change of Time comes on. But this is one of the new songs that I discovered when I was listening to or watching, I should say, the silo sessions that Josh Ritter did from time to time. And actually he did them every week for, basically until, June, from, March or so until June. So that was pretty great. I got to hear a lot of his stuff that I hadn't before. And like I said, this was one of them. This was a song called Change of Time. And, I became a little bit obsessed with writing a song that, had a kind of a similar feel to this one, to the point where at some point I wrote the same hook twice. So it was like, okay, let me come back to this because I'm running out of ideas here. But, after this particular falling out happened, it just kind of hit me that like, oh, this is a really good thing. And so, it wasn't not the falling out, but the, I was able to write this song, and it's a song called Burn Now. And the interesting thing about this is that there are kind of two definitions or uses of fire. And one of them is like, oh, we've got a great fire going, let's not put it out. But then the other one is like a house catching on fire, and you never want that. And so it's one of those like, okay, fire's good, fire's bad, and I want it to be good, so I just can't distinguish between the two, essentially. And so that's what Burn Now is about. But I'm going to start, like I said, with Change of Time, because that expresses when you're actually not giving up on a relationship. But I hope you enjoy both of them. I had a dream last night. I dreamt that I was swimming in the stars up above. directionless and drifting somewhere in the dark, were sirens and the thunder, and around me as I swam, the drifters who'd gone under. Time, love, time, love, time, love, it's only a change of time. I had a dream last night, and rustling while below me, battered hulls and broken on ships, Leviathan and lonely. I was thirsty, so I drank, and though it was salt water, there was something about the way it tasted so familiar. Time, love, time, love, time, love, it's only a change of time. Love, time, love, time, love, it's only a change of time. The black clouds I am hanging, this anchor I am dragging, the sails of memory, remoting in the silence, we gun through the lowlands, all lands through the salt lands, and white caps of memory, confusing in my land. I had a dream last night, and when I opened my eyes, your smile and your shoulder blade were shorelines in the moonlight. New worlds for the weary, new lands for the living. I could make it if I tried. I closed my eyes and kept on swimming. Time, love, time, love, time, love, it's only a change of time. Love, time, love, time, love, it's only a change of time. Love, time, time, love, it's only a change of time. Love, time, love, time, love, it's only a change of time. Yeah, I saw the barn catch on fire, and I shouldn't have run toward it, but there was just one flame that burned, and I could not ignore it. There were red flags all around, but all of them were burning, so they all just looked like flags, and ones I was deserving. Burn now, burn now, burn now, I don't wanna burn and burn now, burn now, burn now, I don't wanna burn it out. I once said as a joke, you'd one day grow sick of me, but I find I'm not burning. Seemed like you really loved me, I threw in the olive branch, 'cause it burned well in the fire. Then out of nowhere you suddenly grow tired. Burn now, burn now, burn now, and no one to put it. Burn now, burn now, burn now, I don't wanna put it out. So runs the world the way really thought we were igniting, but who needs the rest of the world when our fire's so exciting? I saw the barn catch on fire, thought it was a signal flaring, but as the smoke went away, I guess so did your caring. You dialed 911 and the fireman doused the flame, and you asked him for his number as I began to beg. Burn now, burn now, burn now, I don't wanna put in. Burn now, burn now, burn now, I don't wanna put in. Burn now, burn now, burn now, I don't wanna put it out. All right, and that was Burn Now, and also Change of Time, which I played first. I hope you enjoyed both of those. There was, in addition to finally writing a song that was kind of emulated Change of Time. There was another thing that I've been trying to incorporate in in a song for years, and that's talking about red flags. And there was a line in BoJack Horseman where BoJack's girlfriend broke up with him, and she was saying, when when you view the world through rose-colored glasses, the red flags just look like flags. And that line just absolutely wrecked me, because I was going through some relationship stuff really bad. Now everything you hear is either that or me trying to recover from that. But it was just one of those things, and so I just could not work it into a song, and then all of a sudden it just came out very naturally when I was writing this one. So thank you, I guess, to the person who broke my heart this time around. But that was that. So next, I'm gonna do a song a cappella, and actually two songs a cappella. This is a song called Folk Bloodbath, and it inspired a song called Chances Are Gone. And I don't want to give away the ending, so I'll talk about Chances Are Gone in a little bit. But first we have Folk Bloodbath. Lewis Collins took a trip out west, and when he returned, little Delia had gone to rest. The angels laid her away. Lewis said to Delia, that's the sad thing with life. There's people always leaving just as other folks arrive. The angels laid her away. And when the people heard that Delia was dead, all of them gentlemen, they dressed in red. The angels laid her away. Angels laid her away. Laid her 6 feet under the clay. The angels laid her away. Lewis went down for a new set of clothes. He's gonna dress up for Delia like a fine red rose. The angels laid him away. He bought a 10-gallon Stetson, it was oxblood red, and then Stackerly shot Lewis in the back of the head. The angels laid him away. Stackerly said to Lewis, so now don't you grieve. I'm sending you to Delia, you won't ever have to leave. The angels laid you away. Angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay. The angels laid him away. Oh, the judge was a mean one, name was hanging Billy Lyons. He said, you're a bad one, Stack, you know you're gonna hang this time. The angels lay you away. Then the jailer said to Stackerly, what's the problem with you? Oh, jailer Lewis Collins, ghost brought Delia's with him too. The angels laid him away. Angels laid him away. laid him 6 feet under the clay. The angels laid him away. Well, they buried little Delia in the churchyard deep, with Lewis Collins at her head, Stacker Lee at her feet. The angels laid them away. And out of Delia's bed came briars, and out of Lewis's bed a ghost. And Stackerly's came a cold and lonely ghost. The angels laid them away. Now I'm looking over rooftops and I'm hoping it ain't true that the same God looks out for me, looks out for you and you. That the same God that looks out for them looks out for me and you. The angels laid them away. The angels laid them away. The angels laid them away. Naomi wore a cross around her neck. A halo hovered around her head. The star went just how you would expect. Her new man fell fast and on. His name was Sam, and he had a history of hanging on too long to those mysteries. He really thought this one could be the healer to all his scars. On came a few who didn't see what he saw. Sam took it upon himself to lay down the law, even if he wound up with a thorn in his paw. She'd be worth it in the end. He fought the other men until the death, until he didn't have any of his fight left. He heard her say as he breathed his final breath, we're better off as friends. So God asked Sam when he arrived, was she really worth it for you to die? Now your chances are gone. So God asked Sam when he arrived, was she really worth it for you to die? Now your chances are gone. Now your chances are gone. All right, and that was Folk Bloodbath and Chances Are Gone. The second one by me and the first one by Josh Ritter. Like last week, we're focusing on just one artist here. And last week was Bob Dylan, and this week is one of the greatest songwriters, in my opinion, of my generation, even though he's older than me. But Josh Ritter, just focusing on his stuff for tonight. So this next song is a song that was inspired by Rattling Locks, and this is a song called Try, and I hope you enjoy it. I remember the days when running with you was so easy and not a task. I remember the days when wanting you to respond wasn't all that much to ask. Yeah, everything was perfect, and that's why this hurts so bad. Ending out of nowhere's got me wondering why, and when did you cease to try? When did you cease to try? That's what it is, don't run away from the truth. You got bored and gave up. I was all ready to be your Valentine forever, was so ready to call it love. But here we are, you left, it's over, and only one of us is gonna cry. When did you cease to try? You said early on you wanted to see where things would go. Yeah, I tend to fall quickly, so your goals seemed fair. But we clicked so well, then suddenly I was only an option, and it seemed you no longer cared. Yeah, I won't let you come into my life when it's convenient for you and your other options run dry. When did you cease to try? When did you cease to try? There was a time when I had the right key, rolled the tumblers through the bolt on every wandering soul I caught. But something has changed, it's all wrong. I'm out here in the cold with a wet face, a rattle in your locks, and there ain't nothing new about this world I ain't learned from just standing here in one spot. Ain't nothing new about the world that I ain't learned from you just going by. I tell myself people are cold and strangers pass, separate themselves from love by building walls 100,000 miles high. Frostbite and hot sickness ain't neither of them one so bad. You can understand the reason why. Black hole, are your eyes really as empty as they look? Black hole, how can your two eyes be as empty as they look? All along I thought I was giving you my love, but you were just stealing it now. I want back every single thing you took. Black hole, 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 black hole. I had a dream I was dying, but it wasn't no nightmare. I was peaceful as I fell, and as I was falling into heaven, heaven must be hotter than they tell. Yeah, I woke up sorry I was living rather than rattling your locks. I'd rather spend the night in hell, in hell, in hell, in hell, in hell. Black hole, black hole, black hole, black hole, black Black hole, black hole, black hole, black hole, black hole, black hole, black hole. All right, and that was Try and Rattling Locks. That's just a phenomenally angry song, but I love it. The black hole, your eyes as empty as they look. Black hole, how can your eyes be as empty as they look? That just really resonated with me this particular time out, which is the best way to put it at this point. And my song, Try, basically what it was is it was just like things were going really well. We had only, met up once, but it was fine. We would text back and forth and whatever. And then all of a sudden that just kind of became less and less frequent. But the last exchange that we had was really positive. And so it was one of those things where it was like, okay, so why would that end just like that? But, like I said, I should be used to it at this point. That's just one of those things that, like, as sad as that sounds, it's better to just kind of set the bar low and then be like, all right, hey. So that was that. Rattling Locks. So next, we're going to play All That Is Left and The Remnant. The Remnant is the Josh Ritter song. Built up my walls, knocked them down for you. Yeah, I answered young guns, I truly adored you. All that is left is sadness and anger. All of my breath is gone with my swagger. Dug up a hole that's become a bunker, a place for my soul in bad times to hunker. All that is left is to duck and cover. I really thought you were different than the others. Showed up at noon at the place we were discussing. Not a moment too soon or too late, but I was rushing into your heart till you began to deflect. Now I'm trying to make sense of all that is left. Yeah, I know you are a man, keep running. I caught your trail as you left the pines, out into the mills where you could not know where. Just a thin stitch up against the rising line, and built up through the blue. I knew the stars were tumbling up through the blue. I knew the stars were tumbling. I know you are a man, keep running. I tracked you down by the look in your eyes, of 1,000 gone faces pressed against their windows, horses hiding in the willows till the storm passed by, and a fine gray dust seemed to settle on the future. A fine gray dust seemed to settle in between your head and the dapple of my Appaloosa. The only things that I could see. And up through the blue, I knew the stars were tumbling. Up through the blue, I knew the stars were tumbling. I know you are, old man, keep running. I walked across the bottom of the lake below your boat, and did you know that when you landed, I was watching as the sky turned dark as the eyes of a fool. And I'll know by the shift of the wind and the cobwebs, the sawdust swirls in the fins of the bullets, the crater that you made when you lay down dreaming, the strange constellations that you gave meaning, by the teeth marks you were made on bones in the ice age, then a small of the cinder burning slow through your ribcage. Listen in the distance, you'll hear my shadow, footsteps soft as the tread of an echo. And up through the blue I saw the stars were tumbling, and up through the blue I knew the stars were tumbling, and the ground will open into a mouth below us, and the mouth will open into the empty sky, and the whistle will through the halls of the onyx, and I'll follow you out through the walls of the charcoal, the only sound around us as we go by. Moonlit stones around the cones of a black hole, through the fields where grow the ever and forever, the tessellated blooms and voids of their centers, through the million rooms in the bed of luminescence, the filaments on the looms of dimension, the pillars of creation where they make the planets, the tiny teeth that tear the charge from your atoms, in a trillion tiny bites they'll lead me from the pearl, and throw your soul away to the cold gray little world, and nothing on this earth will be revealed. No, nothing on this earth will be revealed. No, nothing that is hidden will be revealed. All right, and that was All That Is Left and The Remnant, which, same idea. But The Remnant, I don't really know where that title comes from. I think I know where the story comes from, the Josh Ritter song. But that is that. So, next song that we have on here is Another New World. And this actually, there's a phenomenal version of this by the Punch Brothers, which is really interesting. Listen to both of them, because there's some really cool stuff that he does with the guitar. But then the Punch Brothers take it and throw a mandolin in there, which is just like insane. But that's that. So I'm gonna play my song called "Don't Know Why" second, and Another New World, the Josh Ritter song, first. The leading lights of the age all wondered amongst themselves what I would do next. After all I'd found in my travels around the world, was there anything left? Gentlemen, I said, I studied the maps, and if what I'm thinking is right, there's another new world at the top of the world for whoever can break through the ice. Then I looked around the room in the way I once said, and I saw that they wanted belief. So I said, all I've got are my guts and my God. Then I paused and said, oh yeah, the Annabelle Lee. Oh, the Annabelle Lee. I saw their eyes shine, the most beautiful ship in the sea. My Nina, my Pinta, my Santa Maria, and my beautiful Annabelle. That spring I set sail as the crowd waved from the shore, and on board the crew waved their hands. But I never had family, just the Annabelle, so I never had cause to look back. I just set the course north, and I studied the charts, and towards the dark I drifted towards sleep. And I dreamed of the fine deep harbor I'd find past the ice for my Annabelle. And after that it got colder and the world got quiet. It was never quite day or quite night. And the sea turned the color of the sky, turned the color of the sea, turned the color of the eyes, till at last all around us vastness, one vast glassy desert of arsenic white. And the waves that once lifted us sifted instead into the drifts of Annabelle's sides. And the crew gathered closer, at first for the comfort, but each morning would bring a new set of tracks in the snow, leading over the edge of the world, till I was the only one left. And after that it gets cloudy, but it feels like I laid there for days and maybe for months. But Annabelle helped me, the two of us happy just to think back on all we had done. We talked of another world we like to discover, and she gave her body to me. And as I chopped up her mainsail for timber, I told her all that we had to see. And as the frost turned her moorings into ninetail and the wind lashed her sides in the cold, I burned to keep me alive every night in the lover's embrace of her hole. I won't call it a rescue, what brought me back here to the old world, the drink and decline, then pretend that the search for another new world was well worth the burning of mine. But sometimes at night in my dreams comes the singing of some unknown tropical bird, and I smile in my sleep thinking Annabelle has finally made it to another new world. Yeah, sometimes at night in my dreams comes the singing of some unknown tropical bird, and I smile in my sleep thinking Annabelle has finally made it to another new world. We had a love for the ages, then we were on different pages in a second or two. It kinda came out of nowhere, I just wanted to be somewhere with you. Yeah, I guess I still don't get it. Was your mind always set? It seemed like you just decided not to try. Are you wondering about me? What's the reason you doubt me? Come on, you can tell me, don't be shy. Honey, I just want some closure, got a lot to get over, and I thought that it'd end with your love. But there were many problems, many crumbling columns we just could not rise above. I thought that you doubt me, what's the reason you doubt me? It seems like you decided not to try. You seemed like you were different until you grew distant, and I ain't never seen a blind bird fly. It was just a simple question, what's the change in direction all for in the end? How long is this staircase? Will I ever see your face or the rest of you again? Do you even notice the dying lotus as it begins to cry? When the calendar turned, there were bridges to burn, and I just don't know why. All right, and that was Another New World and Don't Know Why. One of the lines that stuck out to me in the Josh Ritter song was, and pretend that the search for another new world was well worth the burning of mine. And this is, I mean, I'm sure it's allegorical, but the, for me, the Annabelle Lee was a ship, but it was also a relationship song. And so part of the reason why I played his song first was because it said that, like, oh, he thinks of Annabelle Lee kind of fondly and wonders, okay, did she ever make it to another new world? And if we look at another new world as a relationship, I don't care. Like, if you made it to another new world, I don't want you to be happy. I don't want to know about it. And so that's one of those things. Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting song, and we had a discussion in this Josh Ritter fan page about, is it a ship, is it a woman, and it clearly says it's a ship, but there are certain things that make it seem a little bit more like that. But then it's the ship is definitely personified, so it's kind of an interesting thing. So when I was writing this record, I was a little chilly in my apartment, and so I went to get a sweatshirt, and I was kind of looking for the sweatshirt, and couldn't find the one I was looking for, and I realized, like, oh, it was a really complicated way to get a sweatshirt. And so I thought, well, what if the reason why I couldn't find my sweatshirt was because I was distracted by thinking about this relationship that went wrong, and you just can't function. You can't really do anything else. So that's what this song is about, and I really enjoyed writing this. A lot of these songs are kind of a departure for me, not thematically, but rhythmically. And this one in particular, this kind of goes with the why are you singing so many sad songs and smiling while you're doing it? And the answer is because I'm a psychopath. But this one in particular is a happy melody, but then it's got these really sad lyrics, and so that's an interesting contrast that I don't usually have. But this song reminds me of, obviously Lark is what inspired it, the Josh Ritter song, but Lark, the Josh Ritter song, reminds me of some Simon and Garfunkel, or at least Paul Simon, and specifically, me and Julio down by the schoolyard. And so I'm going to play both Sweatshirt and Lark in that particular order. I used to carry my heart with me on the sidewalk. Now I keep it to myself since we no longer talk. Really thought you and I could make it work, but now I'm breaking down just trying to find a sweatshirt. Cause you once kept me warm but now no longer. I think I found at least think I need something stronger. When I was with you I used to be so pert, but now I'm breaking down just trying to find a sweatshirt. I once did the same when I was trying to make a sandwich. I put down the knife and somehow I managed to pick up the pieces till you give my self-worth. Cause now I'm breaking down just trying to find a sweatshirt. Yeah, now I'm breaking down just trying to find a sweatshirt. The golden ratio of the shell, the stars ascending round themselves. The trees rustle and kneel and listen to the heartbeat of a log in my heartbeat. The oxygen embraced the green. The answers dressed in labyrinthine. The telescope topped the mountain of ecstatic vision, listening to the heartbeat of the log in my heartbeat. Hey, I'm assured, yes. I'm assured, yes. I am assured that me, so come to me. Amazing and yes, surpass the speed, yes, of my understanding and my need. A meteoric woman went in out of balance to the spark ever ascending. The arrow now shoots forward, though it moves with repetition. To the heartbeat of a log in my heartbeat. Hey, hey, hey. What is it that drives the driven snow now? Bondage nimbus when I rest my weary hopes now. The rain distills and the steeple says the ears of a lonely church mice. With a heartbeat of a log in my heartbeat. Hey, hey, I'm assured, yes. I am assured, yes, that mace will come to me. Amazing and yes, surpass the speed, yes, of my undertaking and my need. All right. And that was Lark and Sweatshirt. Played Sweatshirt first. The line about the sandwich was really interesting. So this was 5 years ago. It was around this time, actually. It was on January 24th of 2016. I was making a sandwich for work the next day, and it occurred to me that some anniversary was coming up of the first time that my ex and I hung out. And so it was one of those things where I was making the sandwich. I wasn't going to do anything malicious, but it was just one of those things where I did have to put the knife down because I was just I just couldn't do anything what I was doing. And so that was one of those things, but forever immortalized in song and live stream. But that was, like I said, Sweatshirt. So we got about 3 more original songs and 3 more covers as well. So this next one, this is a song called Good Guy, not to be confused with the Billie Eilish song. But this was inspired by probably people who like Billie Eilish, honestly. The talking about kind of the relationship tropes and how brainwashed I have been to a certain extent, and that's led to a lot of anxiety on my end that just the idea that and this works on both ends, but from my perspective that a woman can turn you down without rhyme or reason if things have been going really well. It's no, I still reserve the right to end this at any time, even if it doesn't make any sense. And generally speaking, I'm okay with that, but some of the narrative that goes with that is people will say oh, there are just no good guys left, and then the counter response is well, you rejected all the good guys. But then they'll say, well, if you think that, then you're not as good a guy as you maybe think you are. And so that's kind of what this song is about, that I am a good enough guy. I'm worthy of somebody actually telling me the truth and not, leading me on and treating me like shit. And that's just a baseline expectation. That's not even, saying I want anything more. I probably do, but that's not my initial intent. I just want that connection. And so this is kind of a send up of that. That particular trope. But this is See How Man Was Made, which I'm going to play first, and then Good Guy. Come on now, my dear, this was supposed to be my year. Tell me you've been disappointed on so many Valentine's days. Swore you had the will, it's just that man couldn't seem to find a way. It's been crammed in my head, I'm not as good a guy as I boast. But maybe you're no prize either, 'cause you'd win if we counted who lied the most. You claim to know your worth. How could you when you don't even know mine? I ain't toxic for living all of the deception behind. It's been crammed in my head, I'm not as good a guy as I boast. But maybe you're no prize either, you were just a leech, I was your temporary host. Yeah, I wonder if all you said was played up in my head, or if you were growing wings. You said you wanted to see where it would go to give you an out when I wanted to talk about rings. It's been crammed in my head, I'm not as good a guy as I boast. But maybe you're no prize either, now we'll get to see who loves the least the most. Please, man ain't supposed to live alone. No, that ain't what he needs. He needs to find a home with someone else who needs a man. You're a man who needs a home. Man ain't supposed to live alone. Please, you can see how man was made. He was made to home, man. Home is just a place without a man. A man who needs a home. Man wasn't made to live alone. All right, and that was Good Guy and See How Man Was Made. I did my original song first, but I hope you enjoyed both of them, no matter the order. So this next one is a song of denial, not just a river in Egypt, and this was inspired by Orbital, the second to last track on So Runs the World Away, and I hope you enjoy both of them. I'm going to play Orbital first. So it was that everything that went on to make everything was someone on the grain of great insistence. Then someone gave the great command, all things better more than dance. The great, the small, to the grand, down to the instant. The hawk around the field mouse, the love around the lover's mouth. I find my mind is settling down, circles around you. The angels round their crowded pins, the amber-waved electron spins in planetary transits round the ones they are bound to. Who do you circle round? Who is it circles around you? Is it circles round you? Who is it circles around you? Do you circle round? Who it circles round you? The ghost around the one it haunts, the one around the one it wants, the way the mind just wanders off and then returns to the thoughts around the second thought, the love and gravity of love, whatever name it's got on me, circling around you. The wheel time, the wheel bait, the line that mans itself through space, the line that carries the time, and which also bends the same time, relative to the point of view. So when I get a glimpse of you, every time you come around the light, the room lights up and time slows too. All the world was going down until the day you came around. You turned my smile into a frown, and my smile from a frown. In my head I could hear the sound of wedding bells as they chime. For a day there was yours and mine, but now I'm begging, please don't go. 'Cause I'm feeling you don't love me no more. But darling, please say it isn't so. You know what you do at this point. I was already too annoyed. We seem connected in every joint. Now all you do is exploit the fact that I refuse to kill my hope due to your lack of will. You once gave me a love no one ever showed. I called it that, but now you're trying to say it isn't so. I'll find a new lover and you'll also find another, and one day you will not shudder at the thought of all the clutter. But for my own protection, deflection ain't the proper road. I gotta face the fact that you're gone and stop nailing myself to say it isn't so. All right, and that was Orbital and Say It Isn't So. The first one by Josh Ritter, second one by me. All right, so this last song of the night, I'm going to play the Josh Ritter song first, but the last song of mine is called The Tears, and I'm going to debrief it afterwards because I don't want to give away the hook. So this is The Curse. He opens his eyes, was in love at first sight with the girl in the doorway. What beautiful lines, how full of love after thousands of years. What a maze to wake up to. He holds back a sigh as she nudges his arm. She knows something bad where till now he's been sleeping under miles of stone. The dried figure of his heart under scarab and bone starts back to its bleeding. She carries him home in a beautiful boat. He watches the sea from a mortal in stowage. He can hear all she says as she sits by his bed. And one day his lips answer her in her own language. The days quickly pass, he loves making her laugh. The first time he moves, it's her hair that he touches. She asks, are you nurse? He says, I think that I'm cured. Then he talks of the Nile and girls in bulrushes. In New York he is laid in a glass-covered gaze. He pretends he is dead, people crowd round to see him. But each night she comes around and the two wander down The halls of the tomb, and she calls a museum. Often he stops to rest, but then it's less and less. Then it's her who looks tired, staying up asking questions. He learns how to read from the papers that she is writing about him, and she makes corrections, and he makes corrections. It's his face on the book, more and more gonna look. Families from Iowa, Upper West Siders, and one day it's too much. He decides to get up, and his chaos ensues. He walks outside to find her. She's using a cane, and her face looks too pale, but she's happy to see him. As she walks, he supports her. She asks, "Are you nurse?" But his answer's obscured in a sense from a flash falling round here and borders. Such reanimation, the tour to the nation, and gets out of limos. He meets other women, he speaks of her fondly, her nights at the museum, but she's just one more rag now. He's dragging behind her. She stops going out, she just lies there in bed, in hotels, in whatever towns they are speaking. Then her face starts to set, and her hands turn to mold, and one day the dry pig of her heart stops its beating. Long ago on the ship, she asked why pyramids. He said, think of them as immense invitation. She asked, "Are you nurse?" He said, "I think I am cured." Then he kissed her and hoped that she'd forget that question. His new life begins when I leave would win. Yes, he was not dreaming. After all of her, she was the one he deserved. I guess he was not crazy for all of his scheming, not a care in the world. He finally asked the girl, "I guess you will laugh at his jokes and sympathize with him. They're on a roll, he nurtures her soul, a mutual with her. It seems like a given." She says, "I'm sorry for the tears, and that it's been a long 5 years, but my love for you is one that will not be quitting." He said that in the past, then it ended so fast, with a ghosting, no roasting, or room for improving. But he goes along, he never wants her gone. He knows deep in his heart she is now a losing. She says, "I'm sorry for the tears, that it's been a long 5 years, but my love for you is one that will never be snoozing." Friends keep going round, some from out of town, and gone due to the big deal he's been making. She is the one who brings back the sun after so many years of his unmanly aching. They text every day until she finds a way to make excuses, and she knows it will leave them. He wanted to walk through, 'cause that's what lovers do. After all, he wasn't crazy for what he'd been dreaming. She said, "I'm sorry for the tears, and that it's been a long 5 years." Then without a goodbye, she left him to his grieving. All right, and that was The Tears, and if you don't have a couple of those after that particular song, then you were probably a robot. That would be my guess. But that is the One More Rag live stream, and actually the curse is where that this album got its name from, because there's the line in the last part of the song where it says, she's just one more rag now he's dragging behind him. And that's kind of how I felt with this particular relationship, that things were going great. It was great. It was great. And then, she got busy and kind of used that as an excuse to not talk to me. And so it was one of those things where it was just like, no, I want to hear about your day. I want to, be a part of your life. And she just wasn't making that effort. So I was that one more rag that she was dragging behind her. And, it's interesting. This song has the curse has a lot of interpretations. And my song, I mentioned last week with the Blood on the Tracks live stream that, it ended on kind of a sad note, and that's how mine does too. So, I just find the curse so fascinating, because there are a lot of interpretations, but the main one is that it's this guy who's cursed, and then the woman in the story kind of absorbs that curse as well. But the person who was originally cursed, the guy, doesn't want to be. He wants to end that curse. And so that's he kissed her and hoped that she'd forget the question. That's kind of where I'm at now, that I've had a really rocky past personally. And these songs are, good therapy, but I definitely want to forget about it and, not be cursed and not curse somebody else. So that's definitely the goal. But next week, we are going to be doing another live stream that I haven't quite finished it yet. I got one more song to write with it, but I have confidence that I will. It's going to be an album called Never Mind the Sex Pistols, Here Come the Bullocks, and I'll explain that title in a week, I guess. So I will see you guys then, but I appreciate you tuning in. I'm on Spotify and iTunes, Instagram and Facebook, and of course YouTube as well. All this Minnesota Mike. Thank you so much for tuning in.